Hey y'all, happy Mask Monday. Today we're going to do a really light customization on the new Trick or Treat Studios Halloween 2 Michael Myers version 2 mask. Like I said, it's going to be a really light customization. You won't need the airbrush to do this one. You know, the big difference obviously between this and the original H2 Myers mask from Tots is it's like yellow and it's got a lot of brown like sponged in there or whatever. It's a lot more weathering. Like there's the black weathering you can see. The paint job is, you know, it's just kind of different and there's a lot more going on. A lot of people are really liking this mask, as am I. There's just like a few things that you can do to, again, customize it a little bit. I think the main thing that I would like to change is to just give it a matte finish. It's really glossy. All the ones that I've seen anyways have been pretty glossy, and for me, I like the Myers masks to be matte. So that's the main thing, and that could be the only thing that you do, honestly, and that's just going to be this Krylon matte finish. That'll take the gloss out of it. But I'm going to kind of go a little bit further with some black weathering, basically, is going to be the goal there. And then once I'm happy with that, I'll do the matte spray. The second half of this video, I'm going to show how everyone does this like hidden hairline thing that everyone's been talking about lately. But you're pretty much going to just be pulling it over and gluing that down, and that's going to get rid of this kind of glue hairline here. So I'm just going to comb out the hair just a little bit, just because it's kind of, you know, bunched up. I'll start off, just kind of comb the hair out just a little bit, kind of get everything going the same direction and out of my way. I'm being pretty light with it. You can comb it, but you know, obviously you don't want to yank, and you're gonna always pull some hair off. Don't flip out. If it's really kind of clumped up, pick it out with your fingers first. Sometimes this kind of like glossy sealant and stuff like that, it won't react well. It won't like catch the paint in only certain areas, so it'll be a kind of really dark around, and you'll have like a little spot that's like there's no black on it at all, and it's really shiny and like really obvious and hard to get blend out. You have to go in with the airbrush to kind of blend it away. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen on this one or not. So my other option is to spray it with like a quick light coat of the matte finish first, then do the black, and then do the matte finish again. But I'm going to do a little test first where I'm going to kind of see how this gloss reacts the back of the neck here, and you know, if I like it, I'll just kind of continue and work around the whole mask. But if it's acting weird, then I'll have enough time to just switch gears and cover it in the matte spray first, and then it should be fine. And this is just that cheap apple barrel paint. It's just black. Just gonna put a little bit in here. You're just gonna dilute it like really heavily with water. You don't want it to be, you know, like straight water, but pretty watery though. Like this is pretty much water. And if it's not, you know, heavy enough, I'll just have to add a little paint, but I wouldn't dilute it much more than that. Kind of push it up against the wall. You can see, you know, not much black is sticking. You know, I could probably honestly add a little bit more black, but let's just see what this does first. Yeah, that's actually way too thick. I thought it was gonna be too thin, but of course this could have something to do with this finish, you know? Maybe it's sticking too much or something. So I'm just gonna wipe it off with a paper towel. And so that all came kind of pretty much clean off. You can see how thick it was, and then almost all of it came like totally off. So what that's kind of telling me is I probably should do this matte finish. This glossy like glue that they seal it with is just so resilient or whatever that stuff just wipes right off of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the matte finish. Another thing the matte finish is good for too is at the end when I'm done styling the hair and all that, it kind of works like a hairspray as well. I'll kind of style it and then I'll spray it with the matte finish. And I like what it does to the look of the hair, but also it kind of holds its shape better. Wear a respirator when you use the spray paint. Normally I would. And like I said, this could be the only thing you do. And you know, maybe it's a good thing that we do this first because you can kind of see what this will look like with literally just only this one step being done to it. It's gonna improve it in my opinion. And again, biggest thing with this is always make sure you shake it up really good, because if you don't, it's gonna spray out white, and that's not gonna dry translucent, it's gonna be white. So just be careful with that. Cool, but yeah, don't overdo it too much, you know. You want it, let it dry. See any spots that still look glossy, hit those spots, but you know, don't have to go over to the stuff that doesn't look glossy anymore. You don't want it to be really thick, because if you lay this stuff on too thick, it will crack. But that layer of glue that they seal it with, it's so flexible and so strong that you're kind of, you're pretty good, you know. But remember, I'm gonna have to do another layer of matte once I'm done with the black. So lay it on pretty light. I'm gonna do some black, and then I'll lay it on fairly light again, you know, so that I'm not having this thick layer of spray paint on top. I'm gonna let that dry for say 15 minutes just to be safe. It'll probably be dry in 5 minutes, but I'm just gonna give it 15 minutes and then I know I'm good. We'll be good to try the black out again. It should work better this time. And then we'll do the hairline and we'll be done. Yeah, I don't know exactly how long we waited, but you can feel it. It's not tacky or it's not leaving any residue on my hands at all. It feels nice and just kind of flat, and yeah, I'm not feeling anything on my fingers. So it should be good. It's been a long time since I kind of did this on top of like the matte finish thing. So again, I'm still gonna start in the trusty old back of the mask, and if I mess it up, then it's not as noticeable. I'll figure it out, but I think it should work now. So the matte finish is definitely kind of making it like kind of beat up and run off. So maybe that's not the best way to do it either, but I'm just gonna get a bunch of black on there, especially in the details, and then I'll wipe it off with the paper towel again and kind of see what we got. Just wiping, but also kind of dabbing where I want there to be kind of the black, but I don't want it to look, you know, all spongy like it did. This is kind of a dirty paper towel, and now I can go in and kind of just sponge in a little black where I want there to be some more. It's a subtle difference. Like I said, you could only do the matte finish and probably be pretty happy with it, but I think that it's definitely worth doing this step. You can kind of, you know, I blended this into each other a little bit better. It's still kind of two different things. If I really wanted to go a little further, again, I'd do the skin tone and like some brown speckle, but I'm happy with that. And there's just, you know, in these little like crevices, just a little bit more black. Again, very subtle, don't know how much it'll come through, but I'm happy with it in person. You could take it further if you wanted, of course, but I'm gonna go ahead and call that. I'm gonna style the hair, and then I'm gonna hit the matte finish over the whole thing, including the hair. And but this is kind of the whole reason why I'm doing this video is because I wanted to show this this kind of folding the hair over the glue line technique. So I'm just gonna start just by kind of fluffing the hair out a little bit, trying to even out, you know, again, where that kind of fold line is. And you can put your other arm in here to kind of press against and just kind of mash them and move it forward. Just kind of get it all kind of mashed up, and but also kind of pick it out and just mess with it a little bit, I guess. So I've got it kind of teased out, but now this is where I'll kind of start to train the hair to fold over. So I'm gonna do a few passes just with my fingers, just pulling it over and mashing it down, and I'm just training it to do that. But you can see once I'm done, like, kind of have that effect where you're not gonna see that glue. You don't wanna just jump into trying to glue it down. I suppose you could, but just pulling it, bringing it forward, folding it over. You can probably already see how it's gonna look better once it just starts to want to kind of stay there. But you can see it's kind of getting mashed up and all that, but that's okay because I'll kind of comb it and pick it out once I had that glued on. And now you really just want to make sure you're getting enough to kind of pull, fold over. Yeah, so you can see already, if you look at that straight on before I even glue it, you can see that that's just going to look better. So for gluing it down, you have like a couple options. I wouldn't use latex. Latex is usually what I use to glue on mohair and stuff like that, but I probably wouldn't use latex for this because it'll soak through the hair, and you don't want it to soak all the way through. You're just gonna have glue on top of here, which is what you're trying to hide. You're trying to get rid of, you know, so you can't see the glue. So you can use latex, but I probably wouldn't. You could use Mod Podge, is probably a little bit better than latex, but still, you know, Mod Podge is pretty thin, and if you're mashing it down a lot, it's gonna soak through the mohair and all that. So what I like to use is just some super glue, and I have this like E6000. This dries like very translucent, like it's totally clear. It's really shiny. You're not gonna want anyone to see it because it's so glossy and shiny. It's kind of like when you put pressure on it and kind of move it, that's how it kind of really activates, you know? And so when you're pushing down, it's gonna get rid of it, but also it's not gonna soak through because it's gonna start drying or curing or whatever so fast that it's not gonna like go all the way up through the hair, hopefully, unless you put a big glob on. But I'm just gonna do like a little bead, and I'll do kind of like I'll probably do like this section and then that section and then that section. And I just like kind of sneak under there. I'll do like a bead going along the whole thing. I'll mash it down. It'll take a few times, you know, go back and forth. It's gonna keep wanting to come up, just keep pushing it down. And then once it's kind of kind of set, I'll do the next part, but you'll see I'll probably end up, as I'm working on this, I'll have to go back over here and mash it down some more, you know, until it's totally like set, you know, it's gonna still want to kind of separate. So I let the E6000 dry. For me anyways, like, you know, say what you want, but I think it looks a lot better already. Again, it's kind of, you know, it's a little messy and all that, and I might even make it more messy now, but I'll kind of get it more together right now by kind of going in and mushing it and just kind of doing like circular motions and back and forth to kind of just mash this area together, and then I'll pick it out a little bit more, and just once I'm happy with it, you know, good enough for me, and then I'll spray it with the matte finish. I'll spray the whole thing. The difference between before I did the black and after is very minuscule. In person, I think it does make a difference, and I'm happy that I did that, but you don't even have to do that step if you don't want. Just the hair, if you just did the hair and then sprayed the whole thing with the matte finish, that's two things you'd have to do. I think that a lot of people would be a little happier with it. And just kind of matte this stuff together a little bit more. But again, I'm not really worried about it being crazy clean. I like them when they're a little messy looking. You can kind of see like where you handle it, it starts to get kind of matted. Where I haven't really handled it, it's still pretty frayed, but I'll just go in and mess with it a little bit. And a really good thing to do, I don't have one, but you can take just like a pick. And sometimes I'll do it with just, you know, just like one of these, just go in here and just kind of mat it together. But if you have one of those like 3 or 4 prong like metal picks, then that'd be really good to go in here and kind of mat it all together and stuff. So I'm gonna hit the whole mask again. I'm gonna be pretty light on the mask part of it because I know I've already got a layer of matte finish there, but I do wanna hit it just to preserve that little bit of black that I put on there, you know, especially if someone's gonna wear this, you know, with this stuff, you'd be good, you know, even if it rained or whatever. But if, you know, putting it on and off or whatever, you know, it's a good idea to just have that sealed up. So that's it, he's all done. I'm thinking about trying out this brand new from the Motion Picture Effects Mayberry Monsters line. It's transparent latex blood. I wasn't planning on doing the blood tears, but it just kind of coincided where like I just took this home and I was like, you know what? Why not? And it looks kind of like salmon. It goes on opaque and then it dries translucent. I'm not just gonna put it right on the mask because again, I've never used it, but we'll give it a shot and we'll just test it on something. All right, so I got 3 little different consistencies here. I don't know what the distilled water is gonna do to it, but it definitely kind of is a lot more of like, you know, the classic like tear works a little better once I thinned it out. You can see here, this is like just straight up thick, just right out of the bottle, and then a little thinner, and then super thin. This I want it to be like a tear, so I want it to be pretty runny. All right, I'm just gonna give it a shot. I do think that putting the red along like the eye line like that, kind of like pulled up and then it would to drip. I think that that looks cool. So, oh yeah, and like, don't tell me I put these drops in the wrong place. I don't care, I didn't look it up. I don't know where these drips go. I'm just putting some drips here. All right, so I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Again, like I said a bunch of times, I mean, you could take it a lot further. You know, you could add like the black line weathering thing that kind of goes across his forehead there, and just some more black and do some more skin tone. And you could take it a lot further, but I'm pretty happy with it. I pretty much just wanted to show you all the hairline thing, which I'm pretty happy how that turned out. It's a little messy, and you know, you can spend more time styling and all that, but you get the idea of what you're supposed to do there. So I think that it turned out cool, and we'll have this stuff, probably when this video comes out, this should be on our website, nightmaretoys.com. Like, share, subscribe. Happy Mask Monday. See you next week.